Emma Morrison ran through the halls of New Terra Station with her best friend, Kex. The 7-year-old human girl laughed as she chased the small blue alien child around the corner. Their game of tag had started in the school playground and now led them deeper into the station. "You cannot catch me, Emma," Kex called out in his musical voice. His 4 arms waved as he ran on his short legs. Emma giggled and ran faster. Her brown hair bounced as she turned another corner. She did not know where they were going. The station was huge and full of long hallways that all looked the same. Commander Jake Morrison sat in his office reading reports. He was the head of New Terra Station, the most important human outpost in this part of space. Outside his window, he could see alien ships docking with the station. Today was special. The Galactic Council was meeting here. Jake felt proud but worried. The Council had 12 different alien races. They had been in space much longer than humans. Some of their worlds were millions of years old. Humans had only been traveling between stars for 50 years. The aliens saw humans as children. They called them a junior species. This meant humans could trade with them and visit their worlds, but they could not vote in the council. Jake hoped that would change someday. His wife Lisa had died 3 years ago in a transport accident. Now it was just him and Emma. She was the most important thing in his life. He worked hard to make sure she was safe and happy on the station. Emma and Kex ran down another hallway. This one was different. The walls were made of smooth white stone instead of metal. Strange symbols glowed on the walls in colors Emma had never seen before. "Where are we?" Emma asked, slowing down. Kex stopped running and looked around. His big black eyes grew wide. "I think we are in the sacred halls," he whispered. Sacred halls? Emma did not understand. The place where the council meets. We should not be here, but Emma was curious. She had never seen the council chambers before. Her father had told her about the important meetings that happened there. She wanted to see what it looked like. "Just for a minute," she said, walking forward. The hallway opened into a massive round room. The ceiling was so high, Emma could barely see the top. 12 huge chairs sat in a circle. Each chair was made for a different type of alien. Some were tall and thin. Others were short and wide. One chair looked like it was made of crystal. In the center of the circle stood a tall alien that Emma had never seen before. He was twice as tall as her father and covered in gray scales. His eyes were yellow and cold. In his hand, he held a long staff that sparkled like diamonds. Other aliens sat in the chairs around the room. Emma recognized some of them from the pictures in her school books. There was a Zelarian like Kex, but much older. A floating quantum being made of light. A huge titan that looked like a walking mountain. Emma stared at them in wonder. She had never seen so many different aliens in one place. They were all so strange and beautiful. The tall alien in the center was speaking in a deep voice. Emma could not understand the words, but they sounded important. All the other aliens listened carefully. Emma took a step into the room. She wanted to see better. Her foot made a small sound on the stone floor. The talking stopped. Every alien in the room turned to look at her. Emma felt scared. She tried to back away, but her feet would not move. The tall alien with the crystal staff stared at her with his yellow eyes. His mouth opened, showing sharp teeth. "What is this?" he hissed. "A human pest dares to enter our sacred chamber?" Emma's heart beat fast. She wanted to run, but she was too scared to move. Behind her, she heard Kex make a frightened sound. "I am sorry," Emma said in a small voice. "I was just playing. I did not know." The tall alien's face grew angry. "Playing? You? Dare to play in the most holy place of the council? You interrupt our sacred words with your human foolishness?" One of the other aliens, a kind-looking creature with soft fur, spoke up. Ambassador Threska, she is just a child. She means no harm. But Threska did not listen. He stepped toward Emma, his crystal staff glowing brighter. Humans must learn respect. This pest will be taught a lesson. Emma tried to run, but Threska was too fast. He raised his staff high above his head. The crystal at the top blazed with strange light. No. Keck screamed and ran toward Emma, but it was too late. Threska brought the staff down hard. The crystal touched Emma's shoulder, and she screamed. Pain shot through her body like lightning. She fell to the floor and did not move. The room became very quiet. Some of the aliens looked shocked. Others seemed pleased. Threska stood over Emma's still body, his staff still glowing. Let this be a lesson, he said. Humans must know their place. Kex ran to Emma and knelt beside her. He put his small hands on her face. Emma? Emma, wake up. But Emma did not wake up. Her face was very pale, and she was breathing very slowly. Where the crystal had touched her, her skin was turning black. Furry Alien stood up from his chair. You have gone too far, Threska. She is just a child. She is a human, Threska replied. They must all learn respect. Security guards rushed into the room. They found Emma on the floor with Kex crying beside her. One of the guards picked up Emma carefully. She was so light and still. Get her to the medical bay, the guard said. Now, as they carried Emma away, the aliens in the room began to argue. Some said Threska was wrong to hurt a child. Others said humans needed to be taught their place, but none of them understood what they had just done. They had hurt a human. Child. And humans never forget when someone hurts their children. In his office, Jake Morrison got the call that would change everything. His daughter was in the medical bay, unconscious and fighting for her life. The aliens had hurt his little girl. Jake ran through the hallways of the station. Other humans stopped and stared as he passed. Word was already spreading. The council had hurt Emma Morrison. They had hurt a human child. When Jake reached the medical bay, he saw Emma lying on a bed surrounded by machines. Her face was white as paper. Dr. Helen Ross was working over her with alien medical equipment. How is she? Jake asked. Dr. Ross looked up with worried eyes. The crystal weapon left toxins in her system. Toxins we have never seen before. I am doing everything I can, but double quotes. But what? I do not know if she will wake up. Jake sat down beside his daughter's bed. He took her small hand in his. It was so cold. Emma, he whispered, Daddy is here. You are going to be okay. But as he sat there, watching his daughter struggle to breathe, Jake Morrison began to feel something he had not felt in years. Something dark and dangerous. Something that would soon shake the entire galaxy. The council thought they had taught the humans a lesson. They had no idea what lesson they were about to learn themselves. Jake Morrison had not left Emma's side for 3 days. He sat in the chair next to her bed, holding her hand and watching the machines that kept her alive. The toxins from the alien weapon were spreading through her body. Each day she grew weaker. Dr. Helen Ross came into the room with new test results. She looked tired and sad. Jake, I need to tell you something. What is it? The toxins are not like anything we have seen before. They are changing her blood. Her organs are shutting down one by one. Jake felt his heart break. How long does she have? I don't know. Maybe a week, maybe less. Jake squeezed Emma's hand. She was so small and fragile. Her breathing was getting weaker every hour. There has to be something you can do, he said. I am trying everything. But we need to understand the weapon that did this. We need to know how it works. Jake looked at his sleeping daughter. Then we get that information. The door opened and Admiral Lisa Grant walked in. She was the head of the Human Defense Fleet and Jake's old friend from the military. She had come as soon as she heard what happened. "Jake," she said softly, "I am so sorry. They hurt my little girl, Lisa. They hurt her, and they think it's okay." Admiral Grant sat down across from him. "I know. The whole fleet is talking about it. Every human in space knows what happened here. What is the Council saying? They refuse to talk to us. They say Thresga was protecting their sacred space. They claim he did nothing wrong." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. Nothing wrong? He almost killed a 7-year-old child. "I know. But they see it differently. To them, humans are just animals that need to be trained." Jake stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see Council ships still docked at the station. They were acting like nothing had happened. Like his daughter did not matter. "I sent a message to Earth," Admiral Grant continued. "President Webb is trying to work through diplomatic channels. She is asking for a formal apology and for Thresga to be put on trial." "What did they say?" "They laughed at us, Jake. They actually laughed." Jake turned around. His face was hard and cold. "What do you mean?" "The Council sent a message this morning. They say we should apologize to them for letting Emma interrupt their meeting. They want us to pay them money for the insult. And they want to put new rules on humans in Council space." "New rules?" "Human children would not be allowed in certain areas. Human families would need special permits to travel. We would have to ask permission before visiting any Council world." Jake felt his hands shake with anger. "And if we refuse? They will kick us out of Council space. No more trade. No more travel. They will treat us like criminals." Jake looked back at Emma. She was so still and quiet. The machines beeped softly as they helped her breathe. "How long do we have to decide?" 72 hours. Then they start the sanctions." Jake was quiet for a long time. Then he walked over to his desk and opened a drawer. Inside was an old military communicator. He had not used it in 10 years. "What are you doing?" Admiral Grant asked. "Calling some old friends." "Jake, whatever you are thinking, don't do it. Let the diplomats handle this." Jake turned on the communicator. The diplomats had their chance. Now it's time for soldiers. He entered a special code and waited. After a few seconds, a voice answered. "Ghost Battalion Secure Line. This is Jake Morrison. Authentication code Alpha 77. Commander Morrison? Sir, we thought you were retired." "I am, but I need to talk to the unit. All of them. Tell them it's about Emma." "Sir, most of the Ghost Battalion are civilians now. They have new lives. Tell them what happened to my daughter. Tell them the Council thinks they can hurt human children and get away with it." There was a pause. "Sir, I will send the message, but I cannot promise anything. Just send it." Jake turned off the communicator. Admiral Grant was staring at him. "The Ghost Battalion?" "Jake, they are the most dangerous soldiers humanity has ever trained. You cannot be serious. They hurt my daughter. They think humans are weak and stupid. They think we will just accept their punishment and say thank you. Jake, think about what you are doing. If you go after the Council, it could mean war. Then let it be war." Admiral Grant stood up. "I cannot let you do this. I have to report this to Earth." "Go ahead. But while you are making reports, my daughter is dying." The next morning, Jake got the first reply to his message. It was from Captain Ben Torres, his old second-in-command. The message was short. "On my way." Then more messages came. Major Amy Clark from Europa. Sergeant Nick Phillips from the Mars colonies. Lieutenant Dan Walsh from the asteroid miners. One by one, as old UMIC was coming back together, Dr. Ross came in with more bad news. "Jake, the toxins are spreading faster. Emma's kidneys are failing. I am not sure she will last the full week. Jake looked at his daughter. She was getting thinner every day. Her skin was turning gray, but she was still fighting. Keep her alive, he said. Whatever it takes. I will try. But Jake, maybe you should think about saying goodbye. No, she is going to live. I promise you that. President Webb called that afternoon. She was trying to sound hopeful, but Jake could hear the worry in her voice. Jake, I am doing everything I can. I have talked to every moderate voice in the council. Some of them were willing to discuss a compromise. What kind of compromise? They might agree to a formal apology if we accept the new travel restrictions. It's not perfect, but it's something. What about Thresga? They will not hand him over, but they might agree to a censure, a formal complaint in his record. Jake felt his anger grow. A censure? He almost killed my daughter, and they want to give him a bad grade. Jake, I know it's not enough, but we have to be realistic. The council is too powerful. We cannot fight them. Maybe you cannot, but I can. Jake, please, don't do anything stupid. Let me keep trying. But Jake had already made his decision. The diplomats had failed. The council thought humans were weak. They thought they could hurt human children and face no consequences. They were about to learn how wrong they were. That night, the first Ghost Battalion members arrived at New Terra Station. They came quietly, one by one. They looked like normal travelers, but Jake knew better. These were the most dangerous people in human space. Captain Torres was the first to visit Emma. He stood beside her bed and looked down at the small girl fighting for her life. His face was hard as stone. They did this to a child, he said. Yes, Jake replied. And they think they can get away with it. Yes. Torres looked at Jake. What do you need us to do? Jake handed him a file. Everything we know about council defenses. Everything we know about their weaknesses. Everything we know about their fears. Torres opened the file and read. After a few minutes, he looked up. This is not a rescue mission, is it? No, this is a lesson. Jake, if we do this, there is no going back. The council will never forgive us. Good, because I will never forgive them. More Ghost Battalion members arrived over the next day. They met in secret, planning and preparing. They studied the council worlds and their defenses. They gathered weapons and equipment. Admiral Grant tried to stop them. Jake, I am ordering you to stand down. As head of the defense fleet, I cannot allow this. Then don't allow it, Jake said. But don't try to stop it either. What does that mean? It means you have 72 hours to get your ships out of the way. After that, we cannot guarantee their safety. Admiral Grant stared at him. You are really going to do this. You are going to attack the council. They started this when they hurt my daughter. I'm going to finish it. The 72 hours passed. The council sent their final message. Humans had to accept the new restrictions and pay reparations. They had to apologize for insulting the council. They had 24 hours to comply. Jake read the message while sitting next to Emma's bed. She was barely breathing now. Her heart was beating so slowly that the machines could hardly detect it. Daddy? She whispered. Jake leaned down. It was the first time she had spoken in days. I'm here, sweetheart. Are you going to make the bad aliens go away? Jake touched her face. Yes, baby. Daddy is going to make them go away. Emma smiled and closed her eyes. I love you, Daddy. I love you too. Jake stood up and walked to the window. In space, he could see the council ships waiting for humanity's surrender. They thought they had won. They thought humans would bow down and accept their punishment. Jake picked up his communicator. All units, this is Morrison. Operation Payback is a go. Show them what happens when you hurt a human child. The war was about to begin. Captain Ben Torres left his job on Mars without saying goodbye to anyone. He had been working security for a mining company, living a quiet life far from the war he had left behind. But when Jake Morrison's message reached him, he dropped everything. The message was simple. They hurt Emma. Ghost Battalion is active again. New Terra Station. Come armed. Torres knew Emma. He had watched her grow up during the years he served with Jake. She was like a niece to him. The thought of someone hurting that little girl made his blood boil. He packed his old military gear and caught the next transport to New Terra. During the 3-day journey, he studied the files Jake had sent him. The Council thought they were so powerful. They thought humans were just stupid animals. They were about to learn better. On Europa, Major Amy Clark got the same message. She was working as a teacher now, helping young people learn about space exploration. She had tried to forget the things she had done in the war. But some things you never forget. When she read about Emma, she felt the old anger come back. The cold, focused anger that had made her one of the most feared soldiers in human space. She told her students she had to leave for a family emergency. It was not really a lie. Emma was family. All the Ghost Battalion members were family. Sergeant Nick Phillips was working on an asteroid mining station when he got the message. He was using explosives to break up rocks, doing honest work with the skills the military had taught him. But when he read about what happened to Emma, he knew his peaceful days were over. He stole a fast ship and headed for New Terra Station. Along the way, he sent messages to other Ghost Battalion numbers. The word was spreading. The unit was coming back together. Admiral Grant watched the reports coming in from across human space. Ghost Battalion members were abandoning their jobs, their families, their new lives. They were all heading to New Terra Station. "Sir," her aide said, "we are tracking at least 50 former Special Forces soldiers converging on New Terra." "Are your orders?" Grant looked out at the stars. "Our orders are to conduct routine exercises in the outer systems, far away from whatever is about to happen. Sir, you heard me. Move the fleet out of the area. We are going to be very busy with training for the next few weeks." The aide looked confused, but nodded. "Yes, sir." Grant knew what Jake was planning. She also knew she could not stop him. Maybe she did not want to stop him. The Council had gone too far this time. On the Council homeworld of Vorth, Ambassador Thr Eziako was being treated like a hero. The other Vorthans praised him for putting the humans in their place. They gave him honors and gifts for defending Council dignity. Threska enjoyed the attention. He had never liked humans. They were too emotional, too unpredictable. They needed to be controlled, like dangerous animals. "The humans will learn," he told his followers. "They will accept our terms and apologize for their rudeness. They have no choice." The Council members agreed. Humans were weak. They had small ships and simple weapons. They were barely 50 years into space travel. What could they possibly do against civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for millions of years? Back on New Terra Station, the Ghost Battalion was gathering. They came quietly, one or two at a time. They looked like normal travelers, but Jake knew better. These were the most dangerous people in human space. Lieutenant Dan Walsh arrived from the asteroid belt. He was followed by Sergeant Lisa Park from the outer colonies. Captain Mike Chun came from Earth itself. One by one, the old unit was coming. Back together, they met in the station's cargo bay, away from the main population. Jake stood before them, looking at faces he had not seen in years. Some were older now, some had gray hair, but their eyes were the same, hard and cold and ready for war. "You all know why we are here," Jake said. "The Council hurt my daughter. They think they can attack human children and face no consequences." "How is Emma?" Captain Torres asked. "She is dying. The toxins are destroying her organs. The doctors Say she has maybe days left." The room was silent. These soldiers had seen war, had seen death, but the thought of losing Emma hit them hard. "What do you want us to do?" Major Clark asked. Jake activated a holographic display. It showed the council worlds and their defenses. "We are going to teach them a lesson. We are going to show them what happens when you hurt a human child." "All of them?" Sergeant Phillips asked. "Every single one." The plan was simple and terrible. The Ghost Battalion would split into teams and attack the council homeworlds simultaneously. They would not target military bases or government buildings. They would target the infrastructure that kept those worlds running. Power plants, water treatment facilities, communication networks, food distribution centers, transportation hubs, all the things that advanced civilizations needed to survive. "We are not going to kill civilians," Jake made clear, "but we are going to make them understand what fear feels like. We are going to make their worlds dark and cold and hungry." "What about their defenses?" Captain Shun asked. Jake smiled, but it was not a pleasant smile. "That is where our little secret comes in. For years, humans had pretended to be less advanced than they really were. They had hidden their best technology, their most powerful weapons. They had let the council think they were primitive. It was time to show them the truth. Jake revealed the real human fleet. Ships that were faster and stronger than anything the council had ever seen. Weapons that could punch through alien. Shields like paper. Stealth technology that made human ships invisible. "We have been preparing for this day for decades," Jake explained. "We knew the council would eventually push too far. We knew they would hurt someone we loved, so we got ready." The Ghost Battalion members looked at the display in amazement. They had no idea humans had such power. "Why keep it secret?" Torres asked. "Because we hoped we would never need it. We hoped we could live in peace. But the council made that impossible when they hurt Emma. Dr. Ross came into the cargo bay. She looked tired and sad. "Jake, I need to talk to you." Jake followed her out of the room. "How is she?" "Not good. Her kidneys have failed completely. Her liver is shutting down. The machines are doing everything. But double quotes. But what? I think you should gather the family. Say goodbye while you can." Jake felt his heart break. How long? Hours, maybe less. Jake returned to the cargo bay. The Ghost Battalion could see the pain in his face. "She is dying," he said simply. The room erupted in angry voices. These soldiers had been through wars, had lost friends, had seen terrible things. But the thought of losing Emma was too much. "Then we move now," Torres said. "Tonight." "The plan is not ready," Major Clark protested. "It does not matter. We hit them hard and fast. We make them pay." Jake looked at his old friends. They were ready to die for his daughter. They were ready to start a war for a little girl they loved. "Emma would not want us to kill innocent people," he said. "Then we do not kill them," Phillips replied. "We just make them wish they had never been born." The council was having their evening meal when the first reports came in. Strange ships had been detected near several homeworlds. The ships were not broadcasting identification signals. "Probably human merchants," one council member said. "They are always trying to sneak into restricted areas. Should we warn them?" "Off?" another asked. "Let them come. When they see our defenses, they will run home like scared children." The council laughed at their own joke. Humans were so predictable, so weak, so easy to control. They had no idea that death was coming for them. On New Terra Station, Jake sat beside Emma's bed. She was unconscious now, kept alive only by machines. Her face was gray, and her breathing was very shallow. "Daddy is going to make them pay," he whispered to her. "I promise you that." His communicator buzzed. It was Torres. All teams are in position. We are ready to begin. Jake looked at his daughter one more time. She was so small, so fragile. The most innocent person in the galaxy. And they had hurt her because she was human. Begin the operation, he said. Across the galaxy, Ghost Battalion teams moved into action. The Council was about to learn what happened when you hurt a human child. The war had begun. The first target was Vorth, the homeworld of Ambassador Threska. Captain Torres led a team of 12 Ghost Battalion soldiers in a ship that did not appear on any Council sensors. Human stealth technology was 50 years ahead of anything the aliens had ever seen. They slipped past the orbital defenses like ghosts. The Vorthan fleet was huge and impressive, but they were looking for big ships with loud engines. They never saw the small, silent human vessel that moved between their patrol routes. Torres studied the planet below. Vorth was a beautiful world, covered in crystal cities that sparkled in the sunlight. Billions of Vorthans lived there, going about their daily lives. They had no idea that their world was about to change forever. Target the main power grid, Torres told his team. Remember, we want to shut down their civilization, not destroy it. What about casualties? Sergeant Park asked. Avoid them when possible. But if they try to stop us, defend yourselves. The team split up and moved to different parts of the planet. They had studied Vorthan technology for months. They knew exactly where to strike. Torres himself went after the central power station. It was a massive building in a capital city, protected by guards and force fields. But human technology could cut through Vorthan shields like they were. Made of paper, he placed small bombs on the key power generators. Not enough to destroy the building, but enough to shut down the entire planetary grid. When the bombs went off, the crystal cities went dark. All across Vorth, the lights went out. The transportation systems stopped working. The communication networks failed. The food distribution centers shut down. In minutes, a civilization that had existed for millions of years was thrown back to the Stone Age. The Vorthans panicked. They had never experienced anything like this. Their technology had always worked perfectly. Their world had always been safe and comfortable. Now they were trapped in darkness, unable to call for help, unable to travel, unable to even heat their homes. At the same time, similar attacks were happening on other Council worlds. Major Clark led a team to the hegemony homeworld. Sergeant Phillips struck at the Zellarian planet. Lieutenant Walsh hit the quantum beings' energy stations. The Council had 12 member worlds. In one night, 8 of them went dark. The panic spread through Council space like wildfire. Emergency meetings were called, but half the members could not attend because their communication systems were down. What is happening? Emperor Zon Kalar of the hegemony demanded. His own world was in chaos, with riots breaking out in the darkened cities. It appears to be a coordinated attack, Speaker Velnoth replied. But by whom? The humans, Threska said. It has to be the humans. The other Council members laughed. Impossible. Humans do not have this kind of technology. Then who else? Could it be? Before anyone could answer, a new signal appeared on their screens. It was Admiral Grant, broadcasting from the human fleet. Council members, she said, you are witnessing the true power of humanity. For decades, we have pretended to be weaker than we are. We have hidden our capabilities in the hope of living in peace. But when you hurt Emma Morrison, you crossed a line. You attacked a human child. Now you will face the consequences. The Council stared at the screen in shock. The human fleet that appeared behind Admiral Grant was nothing like the simple ships they had seen before. These vessels were sleek and powerful, armed with weapons that glowed with dangerous energy. Surrender now, Grant continued, and we will consider mercy. Continue to resist, and we will burn your worlds to ash." Emperor Zon Kalar stood up from his throne. "You dare to threaten us? We are the Council. We have ruled this galaxy for 1,000,000 years. And in one night, we have brought you to your knees." Grant replied calmly. On New Terra Station, Jake Morrison watched the reports coming in. The Ghost Battalion was exceeding whole expectations. Council worlds were going dark, one by one. There, great fleets were being destroyed by human ships they never saw coming. Dr. Ross came into the command center. "Jake, Emma's condition is getting worse. I do not think she will last much longer." Jake felt his heart break, but he kept his face hard. "Keep her alive. Do whatever it takes." "I am trying, but the toxins are spreading too fast. We need the antidote. Then we get it." Jake opened a channel to Captain Torres. "Ben, change of plans. We need Threska alive. And we need whatever medical information they have about his weapon." "Understood. We are moving to his location now." Ambassador Threska was hiding in his palace, surrounded by guards. But the guards were useless against human technology. Torres and his team walked through the defenses like they did not exist. Found Threska in his private chambers, shaking with fear. The proud alien who had struck down a human child was now cowering in the darkness. "Please," he begged. "I am sorry. I did not mean to hurt the child." Torres looked at him with disgust. "You are sorry now? When your world is burning?" "I was wrong. I see that now. Humans are not weak. Please, show mercy." "Mercy?" Torres grabbed Threska by the throat. "Did you show mercy to a 7-year-old girl? I will do anything. Please do not kill me. You are going to help us save Emma. You are going to tell us everything about your weapon and how to cure the toxins." Threska nodded frantically. "Yes, yes, anything you want." Torres dragged him to a communication station. "Call your doctors. Tell them to prepare the antidote. Tell them to send it to New Terra Station immediately." "But the antidote does not exist. The weapon was designed to kill slowly. There is no cure." Torres put a gun to Threska's head. "Then you better find one fast." The broadcast went out across Council space. Ambassador Threska, the alien who had hurt Emma Morrison, was now begging for his life on every screen in the galaxy. "I am sorry," he said, his voice shaking. "I was wrong to hurt the human child. Please, I will do anything to make it right." The council members watched in horror. Their great ambassador, reduced to a whimpering coward. And behind him stood a human soldier, calm and cold and completely in control. "This is Captain Torres of the Human Ghost Battalion," the soldier said. "We have your ambassador. We have your worlds. We have your fleets. And we are not done yet. What do you want?" Speaker Velnoth asked. "We want justice. We want the alien who hurt Emma Morrison to face trial. We want the Council to formally apologize. And we want full reparations for the damage you have caused. And if we refuse?" Torres smiled, and it was terrifying. "Then we keep burning your worlds until you change your mind." The Council tried to fight back. They sent the remaining fleets to attack the human ships. But it was like sending children to fight dragons. Human weapons cut through Council shields like they were made of paper. Human ships moved faster than the aliens could track. Human soldiers fought like demons, unstoppable and merciless. Ours, the great Council fleets, were nothing but debris floating in space. Emperor Zon Kalar watched his flagship explode on the main screen. The most powerful vessel in his fleet, destroyed by a single human ship. "How is this possible?" he whispered. "Because we underestimated them," Speaker Velnoth replied. "We thought they were primitive. We thought they were weak. We were wrong." On the Vorthan homeworld, the situation was getting desperate. Without power, the crystal cities were becoming uninhabitable. The temperature control systems had failed. Food storage was breaking down. Medical equipment was shutting off. Thousands of Vorthans were dying, not from human weapons, but from the collapse of their own civilization. They had become so dependent on technology that they could not survive without it. The same was happening on all the Council worlds. The hegemony planets were in chaos. The Zellarian colonies were starving. The quantum beings were losing their energy forms without their power. Stations. "We have to surrender," Emperor Zahn Kaller said. "Our people are dying." "We cannot surrender to humans," another council member protested. "Think of our reputation." "What reputation?" Zahn Kaller shouted. "Look around you. Our fleets are destroyed. Our worlds are dark. Our people are suffering. What reputation do we have left?" Meanwhile, on New Terra Station, Dr. Ross was working frantically to save Emma's life. The alien doctors had finally provided information about the weapon's toxins, but creating an antidote was proving almost impossible. "The toxins are designed to resist treatment," she explained to Jake. "They adapt and change as the body tries to fight them." "But you can beat them, right?" Jake asked desperately. "I am trying, but I need more time." "How much time?" "Days, maybe weeks." Jake looked at his daughter. She was so pale and still. The machines were barely keeping her alive. "She does not have weeks," he said. "I know. I am doing everything I can." Jake's communicator buzzed. It was President Webb calling from Earth. "Jake, you have to stop this. The entire galaxy is watching." "Half the Council worlds are in ruins." "Good," Jake replied. "Maybe now they will understand what it feels like to be helpless." "Jake, please. You have made your point. The Council is ready to negotiate." "Negotiate?" "They had their chance to negotiate. They chose to hurt my daughter instead. I understand you are angry, but this has gone too far. You are destroying entire civilizations. They destroyed my little girl. Turnabout is fair play." The call ended. Jake turned back to watch Emma. She was fighting so hard to stay alive. He could not let her down. Captain Torres contacted him from Vorth. "Jake, we have Threska. He is ready to confess to everything. He will." Dr. Helen Ross had not slept in 4 days. She worked non-stop in her laboratory, trying to save Emma Morrison's life. The alien medical data was helping, but creating an antidote was still incredibly difficult. "The toxins are like nothing we have ever seen," she explained to her assistant. "They change and adapt every few hours. Just when we think we have a cure, they evolve." Outside the medical bay, the war continued. Council worlds burned while their leaders begged for mercy. But Jake Morrison had made his position clear. Until Emma lived, the galaxy would suffer. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Calaviz, a Zellarian scientist whose own world was under attack, contacted New Terra Station directly. "I have studied the Vorthan crystal weapons for years," she said during the emergency transmission. "I think I know how to reverse the toxin effects." Dr. Ross listened carefully as the alien scientist explained her theory. It was complex and dangerous, but it might work. "I need Vorthan crystal dust," Dr. Ross said. "The same kind used in the weapon that hurt Emma." "I can provide that," Dr. Calaviz replied. "But please, you must call off your attacks on my world. My people are starving." "I will pass along your request," Dr. Ross said. But she knew Jake would not stop until Emma was safe. The crystal dust arrived within hours, delivered by a desperate council transport. Dr. Ross began working immediately to create the antidote. It was a race against time. Emma's organs were shutting down one by one. Meanwhile, the Ghost Battalion continued their assault. Major Clark's team had destroyed the main water treatment plants on the hegemony worlds. Sergeant Phillips had taken out the food distribution networks on 3 different planets, The effects were devastating. Billions of aliens were suffering without power, water, or food. Their advanced civilizations were collapsing into chaos. Emperor Zoncollar made a desperate broadcast to all human forces. Please, we surrender completely. We will accept any terms. Just stop the attacks. Admiral Grant responded from her flagship. The attacks will stop when Emma Morrison opens her eyes and says hello to her father. Not before. That could take days. Our people are dying. Then your doctors better work faster. The pressure was working. Council scientists who had never cooperated before were now sharing their most secret research. Alien doctors were working together desperately to find a cure. On New Terra Station, Jake had not left Emma's side. She was so weak now that the machines were doing almost everything for her. Her heart beat only with artificial help. Her lungs only worked because of the breathing apparatus. "Daddy," she whispered during a brief moment of consciousness. "Why are the aliens so mean?" Jake felt his heart break. Even dying, his little girl was trying to understand why someone would hurt her. Some people are just mean, sweetheart. But Daddy is making sure they never hurt anyone else. Good, she said softly. Make them say sorry. I will, baby. I promise. Doctor. Ross burst into the room. Jake, I think we have it. The antidote is ready. Jake jumped up. Are you sure? As sure as I can be, but we need to move fast. Emma's condition is critical. They wheeled Emma into the treatment room. Dr. Ross prepared the injection with hands that shook from exhaustion and stress. This should neutralize the toxins, she explained. But her body has been so damaged that recovery will take time. Jake held Emma's hand as Dr. Ross gave her the injection. The clear liquid flowed into his daughter's veins. Now they could only wait and hope. Across the galaxy, the council members watched their worlds burn and waited for news from New Terra Station. Everything depended on whether the human child would live or die. Ambassador Threska was still being held by Captain Torres. The proud alien had been reduced to a terrified prisoner, begging for mercy from the humans he had once dismissed as primitive. If she dies, Torres told him, you die, and your entire species follows you into extinction. She will live, Threska said desperately. The antidote will work. It has to work. Hours passed. Jake sat beside Emma's bed, watching for any sign of improvement. Dr. Ross monitored the machines that tracked his daughter's vital signs. The toxins are breaking down, she reported. Her kidney function is improving. Her liver enzymes are stabilizing. Is she going to be okay? I think so. But it will take time for her body to heal. Jake felt relief wash over him. His little girl was going to live. The war could finally end. But first, there were debts to be settled. He opened a channel to all Ghost Battalion units. This is Morrison. Emma is responding to treatment. She is going to live. Cheers erupted from the communication channels. The soldiers who had been fighting for days without rest finally had good news. What are your orders, sir? Captain Torres asked. Bring me Threska. Bring me the council leadership. It is time for them to face justice. Within hours, the Ghost Battalion had captured the top council members from across the galaxy. They were brought to New Terra Station in chains, escorted by grin-faced human soldiers. The great leaders who had ruled the galaxy for millions of years were now prisoners of the species they had dismissed as primitive animals. Jake Morrison stood before them in the station's main conference room. Behind him, Admiral Grant and the Ghost Battalion commanders formed an intimidating line. You hurt my daughter, Jake said simply. A 7-year-old child who was just playing. You hurt her, and then you laughed about it. Speaker Velnoth tried to maintain some dignity. We are willing to negotiate reparations for the incident. Incident? Jake's voice was cold as ice. You call the attempted murder of my child an incident? We did not intend to kill her, Threska protested. No, you just intended to hurt her. To teach her a lesson about knowing her place. To show humanity that we are nothing but animals to be trained. Emperor Zon Kalar spoke up. What do you want from us? I want justice. I want recognition. And I want guarantees that this will never happen again. Jake activated a holographic display showing the damage to council worlds, cities in darkness, fleets destroyed, billions of aliens suffering. This is what happens when you hurt a human child, he said. Remember it well. The terms were simple and non-negotiable. Threska would face trial for assault on a child. The Council would formally recognize human sovereignty and equality. Massive reparations would be paid to humanity. And any future aggression against human civilians would result in the complete destruction of the aggressor's homeworld. These terms are outrageous, Speaker Velnoth protested. These terms are generous, Admiral Grant replied. You should be grateful we are letting your species survive. The council members looked around the room at the human soldiers surrounding them. These were not the weak, primitive creatures they had imagined. These were apex predators who had chosen to play nice until their children were threatened. One by one, they agreed to the terms. The trial of Ambassador Threska was broadcast across the galaxy. The alien who had struck down Emma Morrison was found guilty of assault and sentenced to life in prison. His proud species watched in shame as their ambassador begged for mercy. The reparations were massive. Advanced alien technology flowed to human space, medical knowledge that could save millions of human lives, scientific discoveries that would advance humanity by centuries. But the most important change was in attitude. The council species now looked at humans with respect and fear. The junior species had become the dominant power in the galaxy overnight. 3 weeks after the antidote was administered, Emma Morrison opened her eyes and smiled at her father. Hi, Daddy, she said in a weak but clear voice. Jake felt tears run down his face. Hi, sweetheart. How do you feel? Tired, but better. Did you make the mean alien say sorry? Jake laughed and hugged his daughter gently. Yes, baby. They said sorry, and they are never going to hurt anyone else. Good, Emma said. I do not like mean people. Neither do I. Dr. Ross came into the room with good news. Emma's recovery is ahead of schedule. She should make a full recovery within a few months. Jake looked out the window at the stars. The council fleets were gone. Human ships now patrolled the space around New Terra Station. The balance of power had shifted permanently. President Webb called to congratulate him. Jake, what you did changed everything. Humanity is now the dominant species in the galaxy. I do not care about dominance, Jake replied. I just wanted my daughter to be safe. Well, she is safe now. All human children are safe now. The council will never threaten us again. Captain Torres came to visit Emma during her recovery. The tough soldier sat beside her bed and told her stories about her father's heroism during the war. Your daddy is a hero, he said. He saved you and made the whole galaxy safer for children. Emma smiled. My daddy is the best daddy in the universe. Yes, he is. As Emma grew stronger, the reports came in from across the galaxy. The council worlds were rebuilding, but they were different now. They had learned respect for human power. They had learned what happened when they threatened human children. The Vorthan homeworld was back online, but its people would never forget the darkness. The hegemony had restored its water systems, but they now included human technology as a safeguard. Every council species had been humbled. Jake Morrison returned to his duties as station commander, but everything was different now. Alien diplomats treated him with deep respect. Council ships requested permission before approaching human space. The junior species had become the galaxy's new rule.